Welcome to another video. So this video is going to deal with MMPC 007 last block. I thought of making this actually into a single video, but then as I was making the presentation, I realized that if I have to do justice to all the topics, all the important topics in this block, it will at least take, with a reasonable video duration, it will at least take 3 parts. So the entire block 4 of our business communication I've divided into 3 lectures. This is the first part of it, and we will be talking about communication in an organization, and mainly that is communication for employment. Okay, so let's get started. James Hume said that the art of communication is the language of leadership. So, what are the communication types for employment? So there are 2 types of communications from an employment perspective. One is what we as candidates do, and the other is we as employers, or the people who are giving job, or the organization side, what we do. From the candidate, we usually provide our resumes, our CVs, our interview portfolios. We might be sharing with them our LinkedIn profiles, video resumes, right? All those things from the candidate. And from an organization perspective, we would get the first communication we get for a particular job opening would be in the form of a job description, like Naukri profiles, Naukri job listings, or maybe in Monsters, something like that, right? Or it could even be a LinkedIn ad, whatever it is, or a newspaper ad, whatever it is. Job description would be the first and foremost, and then later on comes the interview, the group discussion, all those kind of formalities, the HR interviews. After all those things comes the either the job offer letter, contract of employment, non-disclosure agreements, and so and so. So those are the types of employment communications we receive from an organization perspective. So in this, we are mainly focusing on from the candidate, the resume, CV, and interview portfolio, and from the side of the organization, we are looking more at how interviews happen, group discussions, and the job offer letter and such. Okay, so resumes and CVs, these are 2 words which almost get used interchangeably, rightly so. There is only a very fine gap, nothing much, nothing, there's no huge difference between a resume or a CV when we use it on a regular day-to-day basis. It means the same thing almost, that what we are expecting from a candidate when we ask for a resume or for their CV is all whatever details about them which are relevant to us, like their educational background, their employment background, their skill sets, all those things, right? So a resume and a CV would both have these things, but when we talk about the exact word definition, we can say that a resume summarizes the credentials of a candidate. It is generally shorter than a CV, whereas CV is more like a detailed description, and it will include all the academic and professional details, all the detailed qualifications, the work experiences, the accomplishment, whatever are our interests, hobbies, business skills, technical skills, whether we have done any projects, all those things, everything will be in a CV. And interview portfolios, I don't know if you have come across, but more than any other, interview portfolios are mostly used by designers to showcase their designs, or data visualization candidates, where they can show that, see, these are the data visualizations we've created, or maybe for a manager we can say these are the projects I've worked on. Something of those sorts is the interview portfolio. It is like a collection of a candidate's entire skill set, experience, and achievements. So I don't know if you've come across, but while in my time in YouTube, I've come across a lot of dioramas which artists create, like resin arts, beautiful panoramas they create in resins, and it is called a diorama. The diorama does is it showcases all their skills as an artist, sculpting skills, painting skills, the color combinations, all the skills that they've learned, they put it into one single project, and they showcase all of those through one particular piece of art. So such dioramas are also their portfolios. If you are a website developer, GitHub, you might have heard of GitHub. You might be putting all your innovations and all your website, whatever details are there into GitHub, and that would become your interview portfolio. So such things, they are interview portfolios. So types of resumes, if you have at least once logged into Naukri, like a couple of years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, it was just your Word resume document. or PDF, whatever it is, your resume you upload. But now if you go and check the app, maybe like around 2-3 years back, I guess they have introduced an option for video resumes, where and they're actively encouraging people to upload a video resume. That is, you shoot yourself speaking in a video telling about yourself, right? So that is a video resume. That is also becoming more and more prevalent, because with that the potential employer can know, or the recruitment person, whoever that is, they will be able to know how comfortable you are talking, whether you have any stage fright, how comfortable you are with sharing your ideas, all those things. Your communication skills, soft skills, get evident much better through a video resume than a simple plain PDF or a Word document, because the richness of the media is naturally more. So, what do organizations look for from a resume? First of all, if we are the people who are sitting here and trying to recruit a person, naturally we would be looking for whether or not the candidate possesses the required skill set or qualifications. Does the candidate have experience about those qualifications? Like, is it all just uh, is it all good certificates, or has that person, whoever it is, do they have practical knowledge? Have they done any internships? Have they done any work previously? Do they have work experience? That is naturally sought for, right? So if there are two resumes, one with just the degrees on paper and the other with degrees as well as work experience, naturally as employers we would prefer the person with degree and work experience, right? That is just natural. If we were the people, if we are doing the business and we are trying to recruit, that's what we would want, right? Such a candidate. And whether or not the candidate is actually good in whatever he or she does, that is important, right? So that comes out from your achievements. So these are the things that we would, as interviewers, we would be looking for out for from a resume. So knowing this, knowing that what our potential employers would need from us, we should be in a good position to actually create our resumes for that particular role, right? So I was once speaking to a person regarding creation of resumes and all. This was the time when I was newly out of college and I didn't have much experience creating resumes. And this person actually told me an important thing, which I think is actually right. So what that person told me is that you should not be having just one resume. It is good, but when you're looking for specialized jobs, when you're targeting particular industries or particular job roles, you should be looking for the job descriptions that generally get put out for those particular jobs or for those industries or that particular trade. And based on those job descriptions, you should try to modify your resume, clean it up, keep the things that are relevant and take out the things that are irrelevant for that job description or for that company, that particular role. You should take it out, and you should present your resume to a person so that they get to know what is relevant to them, so that so it makes their job also easy, it makes our job also much more easier, right? So that is a very, I would say, that is a gem of an advice which I got, which actually I think makes sense. And by looking at such job descriptions and trying to see whether our resume matches, we will know where we are lacking. So this kind of in-depth analysis on what we are up against actually helps us also in developing skills which we might be lacking. So wherever there is a gap in our resume which might hamper our progression into such job roles, we can try to create those skills, get certified or something of that sort, and make a resume match. And nowadays what is being told is that you try to create a word cloud from the job resume, the JD, and compare that word cloud with a word cloud which you can generate from your resume, and see if at least the keywords, whether they appear. If not, then some people are actually telling that you better include those keywords in your resume more, so that when a word cloud is created from your resume, it actually matches. So, and that too actually I think makes sense, because our technology is very well advanced. Creating a word cloud out of a document is actually not that difficult. I think there are a lot of websites, free websites on Google. You can just search it out and you might be able to upload your resume and create a word cloud, or just copy the job description of the particular job you are after, put that into the word cloud generator and try to see what are the keywords coming in and include them in your resume. That would help a lot, especially because since there is mass bulk amount of data that is hitting each and every organization right now. There are a lot of candidates, there are a lot of people out here looking for jobs. It is a very tight market right now, and on top of that, recession, there are news of recessions and layoffs and stuff. So as much as there are opportunities, there are more number of people, right? So this is a very good way to make your resume stand out. So if any one of you are actually actively looking for a job, and if you think that this suggestion is, it makes sense, let me know. Leave a comment below, or if you have any uh, ideas where or if you have any other suggestions as to how you can make a resume work, let put that in the comments below too, because we are all here, we are all looking for jobs. Some of us are looking for jobs, where some of us are actually trying to create jobs for others, right? It is a business thing, so it is not that we all want to be managers for some people. Some of us at least would be here because we want to be entrepreneurs ourselves, right? We want to create jobs. So tell our thoughts on what you would be looking for in a job, in a candidate, or what you would do to get a job. Whatever has worked out for you, let us know, so that we all can benefit out of it, right? Yeah, so coming back to the topic, factors which are to be considered while preparing a resume. Base it on facts. This is important. Do not lie on your resume, it will not get you anywhere. Be truthful, genuinely tell about things that you have done and which you know, right? Base it on facts. Make sure you group and categorize information appropriately, and try to present everything in a tabular form. There should be a harmony in how you have arranged the different things. Make it pleasing to the eye, right? But that doesn't mean you have to include a lot of pictures and stuff, but make it try to make it at least some way different. Show your creativity in your resume. If depending on the type of job you are looking for, you know, try to make it stand out, rather than just simply copy pasting some sort of a template from the internet and just filling out stuff. You can do it initially, but try to reinvent the format, try to personalize it in however way you can. Yeah, so and then coming back to the effective video resume, how can you create an effective video resume? Eliminate background distractions, use professional language, use proper voice modulation, prepare a script, and based on the requirement, prepare a script, rehearse it before actually going for the take. Keep it short and precise, share it with friends or a mentor for review, edit or re-edit it, and take as many takes as you want before posting it, because once it is out there, once you've posted, people have seen it, it makes an impression, right? Now, we talked about interview portfolios. Let us look at what are the significance of such interview portfolios. First and foremost, an interview portfolio, they portray creative skills and shows an inclination towards the job, and it makes us also feel more confident and prepared, and can showcase examples of skills or work. Now, what are the components of an interview portfolio? There should be an introduction and most probably a unique selling proposition. Your introduction should talk about what makes you unique, what makes you stand out from the rest of the people who are looking for the same job. It should have your professional highlights and try to use a STAR formula. Okay, so by STAR formula, what we mean is, what you can say is the user situation, task, action, result. So tell them what was the situation. Start with so and so, we had so and so problem. So, and then what was the task? Okay, so what were you tasked with? What was your goal? What action did you take to achieve that task or that goal? Okay, and what did that action result in? That is what is meant by the STAR formula here. Okay, so use that to when you're giving examples of how we have dealt with certain situations in work, or while learning, or while doing a project, whatever it is. If you are a newbie, if you are a fresher, talk about your project, because that is what the experience you have. Or if you have done any internship, talk about challenges that you faced over there. If you are an expert, if you have experience, talk about certain situations you've come across while doing your day-to-day work activities. What is the task at hand? What action did you take, and what result did it come out of it? So it need not always be all positive. It is fine to actually showcase that some of your tasks have not gone given the result as expected, but then you'd have a learning from it. So what did you learn, and the next time how did you use that learning to your advantage? Because none of us are perfect, right? So this goes by like when I was doing my college days, and at that time we had a placement drive over there, and before that we actually had a mentor come up for us to give us a small talk on how we can prepare resumes and stuff. So one of the things that he shared with us is that it is okay to showcase your weaknesses, because nobody is perfect, nobody is all good, right? Nobody is, there's nothing as 100% perfection, we all have flaws. But the thing is, how can you showcase your flaws or your weaknesses or your failures in a positive light? That is, how can those weaknesses be made into what you can say, how can your weakness be a good thing for the company? Like perfection, trying to be perfectionist or trying to have a process for everything is actually quite daunting in real life, right? If there's a person, even if it is a teacher who always bucks you to do things, it's always behind your back, it's not that great. But when you talk about it from an organization perspective, because you are, maybe because you are such a person, it would make sure that the work gets done on time. So it is a win for the organization, even though it is a weakness for you. So present it like that, present. So it is kind of like show them the good in the bad as well, kind of way. Okay, so that's how you should approach it. And even if you have made mistakes, what you should be stressing on is what you learned from them. Okay, so that could help a lot. Yeah, so those are just my a few suggestions from my part. So all these things are basically just this: you, if you are the one who's attending the interview to get a job, just know this: you're selling yourself. Okay, you're selling your time to that person, to that organization, trying to sell yourself into that organization so that they give you money for your time. And that's it, it's just business. There's nothing personal here. There's nothing to be taken personally. It is all professional. You're trying to make a deal with them. So approach it like that. Your skill is what is on the matter. It is what is getting sold. They are here to buy your skill and your time. You are here to sell it to them. Make sure it works for both of you, right? Yeah. So when you're trying to create an interview portfolio, make sure that you are mentioning your achievements. Choose appropriate medium. Keep updating your interview portfolio. It goes as well for your resume. Whatever kind of resume it is, keep updating it. Make sure it is easy to comprehend. Define the goals and conclude with prominent points. Make sure that your resume or your CV or your interview portfolio, whatever it is, it should be crisp and to the point. Okay, yeah, so as I was telling, interviews are essentially a selling process. The candidate tries to sell oneself to the employer, who is naturally just the buyer, and it is the most practical way to understand the personality traits of the interviewee. So in an interview, since it is a person to person, whether you have a face to face interview or whether you're doing the interview through telephone or through a video conferencing call, whatever that is, we can actually understand the personality traits of the interviewee much better than just by simply looking at the resume, right? So there are different types of resumes as well, depending upon uh, the level of the interview, or depending upon the requirement, all those things. Such as there will be an initial screening or a telephonic interview. Usually that happens when recruitment agencies or consulting firms, they see your CV and they call you and ask you whether you're interested for this job, what are your skill sets, all those basic things. Okay, it usually is telephonic. Then we'll have a personal interview where an actual interviewee or a person who is in a project would come and interview you. Then there will be behavioral interviews, task based interviews, there could be stress interviews or management based interviews. And when you're leaving an organization, naturally there will be an exit interview, right? So it depends, there would be multiple rounds of interviews. Like for example, there might be even be 2 or 3 technical rounds, followed by a managerial round, and then finally there would be an HR round, right? So it all depends upon how critical the position is, or how fast they need the candidate, how desperate the interviewer or the organization is to get a candidate, how many positions are open, how many people are there to be interviewed, right? How many applications they have received, all those things. Based on all these things, there could be multiple rounds of or types of interviews that you'll have to go through. So, what is generally the interview process is, first and foremost, job descriptions get prepared, then the job is advertised, then there'll be a screening call, then they'll schedule an interview, then we'll have the preliminary interview, then we might have personal interviews and follow-ups, and then finally, after all these things, if they find that okay, you are fit for the role, then they would hire. Okay, so the next type of interview process, or one of the ways in which interviewers or the organizations try to assess candidates, is through group discussion. So what is group discussion? It is a platform where a few people will analyze and discuss a topic in order to develop a holistic understanding of the topic and develop insights about that particular topic to reach a sensible conclusion. So if you have attended any other MBA related admission process, not this distance one in IGNOU, but rather if you have attended any other actual regular MBA, full-time MBA courses, if you have attended, they'll definitely have there will be an interview process and also a group interview, or sorry, a group discussion, where you will be given a topic, you will be given some time to prepare also, and then the group discussion starts. Generally it will be even 10 or 20, even 20 people or 10 people would sit together and try to discuss on that topic. Each person will present their own views. They might even try to convince other people about on why that view is correct, such things, and then finally they'll come to a conclusion. So what are the benefits of group discussions? So first and foremost, it helps assess group behavior skills, the patience, communication skills, the ability to convince others, etc. And it will also help recruiters assess the problem solving and analytical abilities of that particular candidate. And as I said, there are different types. There could be topic based information, that is information based, or non knowledge based. Like there might be, it might be on a conceptual or a substantial topic. It could even be on the basis of some case studies or on the basis of an article, like that. And then finally, once if you are selected, you will definitely be given an offer letter. And a job offer letter is nothing but an official document the employer gives to the employee in order to provide them with an offer for employment. And it will list all the terms and conditions of the job, like the job description, the compensation, benefits, leaves, all those things will be there. And it is also a proof of confirmation that all the agreed parameters, and the employee is supposed to sign a copy of it as a sign of acceptance of the job offer. So it is kind of like the very first point, or it is kind of like a point of reference. Okay, so yeah, so that is about an offer letter. So that is the first, this concludes the very first part of our block 4. We'll have two more videos to summarize the entire block 4, but this is the first unit of block 4. If you have come this far, consider subscribing. If you have any doubts, leave it in the comments. I'll get back to you. So thank you very much for listening, and all the best.